Thank you, Salim. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm excited to be a part of this series where Amazon is presenting an opportunity for leaders like myself to share our personal journey as well as share insights into how we have been able to make contributions both at Amazon as well as to our communities. Really excited that you all could make it. Thank you for your time. I hope that all of you, as well as your families, are keeping well and staying safe. These are unprecedented times, so thank you for taking the time to be here today. During this course of an hour, I'll be sharing with you all, like I said, some personal experiences, definitely my personal and professional journey. And around this time, through this journey or through this entire time, I hope that there are some anecdotes that stick with you or some tips that have worked well for me that you might be able to walk away with. That's the hope, so we'll see how it goes. Let me start off by giving you all just a quick insight into what I do today at Amazon, where I'm based, what my team does. So my role is a senior manager of the India Alexa Artificial Intelligence team. We are based completely in Bangalore. Of course, in the pandemic times, we're all distributed across India, but primarily the charter of my team is to power the Indian English and the Hindi natural language understanding models for Alexa. So I'm assuming that some of you know what Alexa is and what Alexa devices are. For those of you who might be unfamiliar, Alexa is a virtual assistant driven by speech. So users can set up their devices that are powered by Alexa, and all interactions, are speech input driven. So the responsibility for my team when we say that we power the Indian English and Hindi NLU models is that my team powers the understanding. So when a request from a user comes in, we are the team from the machine learning and AI pipeline that enables the interpretation of the requests and routes the requests to the right team to fulfill them. So for example, if a request came in for what's the weather in Bangalore today, for those of you who are in Bangalore, you know it's quite stormy today. So for that request, it will be a series of teams in the pipeline that might be responsible for first breaking down a request from a sound wave into understandable text input. Then the NLU team picks up the text input and tries to attach meaning and understanding and interpretation. That's what my team does. We do it for the Indian English and the Hindi models. I've had the incredible opportunity to be a part of this team and build it from scratch, from zero to about 40 people. So today we are 40 people based in Bangalore, and very diverse. We have members from all over India. Amongst us, I think we often joke that we probably speak more than 20 languages amongst the 40 members. This is a multidisciplinary team. It's composed of scientists, applied science, data science, research science, computational and data linguists, tech and non-tech program managers, and analytics experts. So all of these diverse skill sets contribute towards the powering of the Alexa NLU models. Our primary charter and our primary focus is on delighting our Alexa users. We also are very highly indexed on constant innovation for our users and customers through science and language-focused initiatives. I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you my personal journey. So I'm going to start from the bottom left, for at least what looks to me to be the bottom left, from Nagpur. So I'm from, Nagpur is a small city, small-ish city in central part of India, in the east part of Maharashtra. So I grew up, good part of my life in Nagpur, all of my schooling, my university, my first job was in Nagpur. Grew up in a very tight-knit family where my parents, set very strong examples through their own lives. Always insisting on, education, taking big goals, dreaming big, having a successful career. So, to be honest, I wouldn't be here without their support and their encouragement. Went to university. I had a lot of interest back then in being a part of humanities. So actually, my background is humanities and arts. I did my master's degree in English literature. I actually did have a lot of support from my family, to choose whatever I might have wanted to choose when I was in school, and had to decide the next steps for my education. My parents were a little surprised that I was choosing humanities, but I did get support from them, and I'm really grateful that that support has led me where I am today. And so I'm really excited to share with you how the various pivots and the various opportunities have shaped my career. So I went ahead, did my master's in English literature from Nagpur University. My first job was also in Nagpur. I started out as a lecturer teaching undergrad students. Really enjoyed teaching. I think once a teacher, always a teacher. So many of my team members probably still feel like they're being taught to. So that's something you can never take away from a teacher. So when I was teaching, I really felt like I had found my calling. Right, I thought that this is it. This is what I will continue doing. Taught for almost 2 years before I started feeling like I wanted to do more. I wanted to get more challenged, and I wanted to spend more time just figuring out languages and understanding, going deeper into the intricacies of languages. So, while I studied English literature, my true interest and, passion to an extent was languages. So that kind of spurred me, and, that curiosity kind of led me towards pursuing a master's degree in San Jose State University in California. I did have a few friends up there in California who I was able to, connect with, network with, to understand potential career options and the choices that one might have after studying linguistics in the US. It's not a standard choice of a subject or a degree that one might select. So, like I said, my journey is quite unconventional because I've followed very different paths to get where I am today. Spent about 4 years pursuing my master's degree in San Jose State. A very exciting experience, very different from how I had approached my master's degree in Nagpur. But very interesting to get insights into the different aspects of languages, the semantics, the structure, the sounds, the grammar, and obviously there was an aspect of computational linguistics, which I think was the most interesting aspect of the degree for me. So computational linguistics, for those who are unfamiliar, is the aspect of bringing in computation, so an aspect of including coding, ability to use scripts to work with not just languages, but an exposure to work, leverage computation to work with data. So I would say that was my gateway to the Silicon Valley, or to the world of working with data, working with tech, being in the Silicon Valley. So, it was a nice a sequence of events, as well as string of, being at the right time, being present at the right time to be able to leverage both my background, my curiosity, my experience, as well as this newly armed, skill set of mine with computational linguistics. So I, took courses, learned programming, did some scripting, and was always in this mode of how do I get to be a part of the Silicon Valley, the tech slice of what Silicon Valley had to offer. So that led me to continue to pursue the computational linguistics degree. And after I finished my degree, I will share with you in the next few slides what I ended up doing, how I landed the role at Amazon. But I stayed in California for almost 16 years before my husband and I decided to move back to Bangalore in 2018. So long stint in the US, but both for professional and personal reasons, we felt that it was time to get back. And it's been about close to 3 years now. This June it'll be it's already 3 years that I'm in Bangalore. Really enjoying it. Happy to share with you in a few more slides what that experience has been and how these different roles have worked out for me. I also wanted to just let you all know that we will have the Q&A session towards the end. So during any of these slides, if there are any questions or if you'd like more insight into any specific topic that I'm talking about, please feel free to note it down. And we will, find a way for making sure that we are able to get to your questions. This is a quick snapshot of my professional history. I have selected, the top most roles that I have played at in different companies. So like I mentioned, I started my career being a lecturer in the Nagpur University. I really enjoyed that, but decided to pivot because I wanted to continue to be curious, wanted to continue to pursue my interest and my passion for languages. So after I completed my degree in the San Jose State University, my master's in computational linguistics, I got a job in Tell Me Networks. This was a IVR company. So for those of you unfamiliar with IVR, this is interactive voice response. This is back in 2006 or 7. And back then we didn't have, enriched or speech assistants or virtual assistants that are as interactive or as intelligent as Alexa, Google Home, or Cortana are, or Siri are. This was still fairly, data driven. So you would give a set of input, and only those set of questions or inputs were responded to in the IVR system. So just like the computational linguistics degree was my gateway into computational side of the languages that I was interested in, Tell Me provided me with the opportunity to actually start contributing to the speech recognition domain. And I started out as a speech analyst, doing analysis, doing a lot of building of new inputs, reviewing outputs, working with program managers, scientists, account managers to slowly start developing and deploying some of these solutions. Stayed in Tell Me for almost 5 years, but then started doing a lot of more diverse and deeply science-oriented work because I, acquired new skills, kept learning, kept doing more programming languages, understanding more programming languages, working with more and more science and tech stakeholders. And by the time I left Tell Me, I had started building models. I was deploying the models. I was responsible for some sets of accounts as well, where I was interacting directly with the external stakeholders. So it was a nice opportunity to start early in a setting where I was not unfamiliar with the domain, but then start contributing within a few years, acquire skills, enrich experience, build network, keep learning, keep growing your skills. And I was ready to try something else. So I thought then that I didn't want to pivot into becoming a scientist, because that was an option that could have been available, to maybe go back to university again and try to see if I wanted to pivot to becoming an ML scientist or a data scientist. But I decided to try product and program management instead. Stayed at Microsoft. Skype was another acquisition that Microsoft had made around the same time, and got an opportunity to try program management. So moved away from speech. I wanted to try something else, didn't want to go deep into speech science. the hope for me was that I tried program management, and then Microsoft itself had the opportunities for speech development and speech recognition science as well, because they also had an arm of speech assistants that they were working on. So that was my hope, that I keep growing at Microsoft, try different things, build different skill sets, grow network, learn about different orgs. So Skype was another great experience. It was completely different from what I was doing at Tellme. I was program managing for a customer experience team. So here there was a diverse set of opportunities available, interacting with end users, how to enrich experiences. Did that for a few years, but then again realized that, I was missing being in speech recognition. So a very interesting opportunity came along. I was not actively looking, but I did run into this opportunity of a very cryptic looking job description. So this was from Amazon, again, an opportunity based in California, where in the Silicon Valley, where there were not many details about the product, but there was enough reference of speech recognition and early stage, scrappy type of product that got me very interested. Connected with the recruiting teams, I did not get any information about Alexa. This was 2013. Alexa was not a thing until then. And nobody told me that they were working on Alexa, or there was a product called Echo that was a stealth mode initiative. And every time I would ask, what product is this for? How come Amazon is working on speech recognition? Where would speech recognition fit in for Amazon? I did not get any answers, because it was a highly stealth mode project. But I think the amount of information I got, and the type of the interviewers that I had, the org leaders, the hiring managers, recruiting teams, they gave enough information that I left feeling like really excited, even though I had very little information about what I would be doing. Decided to take the risk. Speech was the thing that I still felt like was my calling. But at least the domain was the same. So I, pivoted from speech to program back to speech, but at least it was, program product domain. Joined Amazon in California, Sunnyvale, in September 2013, and have been with Amazon Alexa since then. 7 years and some months now, but enriching and very exciting journey. Two major role changes have happened for me in this journey, which I'll talk to you all in these next few slides. So my first set of experiences have been in these 5 years. 2013, I joined in September till 2018, where the cutoff year for me is the relocation to India. Lots of very big milestones and opportunities to learn. This is what Amazon, my managers, my mentors, my org, and the culture in Amazon has enabled for me. Obviously, the most memorable experience is the launch of Alexa in the US. This was in November 2014. And as soon as I joined, I knew that I was going to be a part of something really big for Amazon, and it was a big bet. There were a lot of very interesting, very talented people working on this stealth mode product. And I think this is probably the most exciting contribution and milestone in my career at Amazon, the launch of Alexa. So in this role, I was responsible for the entire data product, so data collection, data sourcing, evaluation, storage, management for all of the Alexa machine learning organization. So that was a very interesting role, because the responsibilities were different. There was an aspect of language that was immediately interesting for me, because one of the aspects of Alexa data collection is also, how do you collect data in order to build those initial models. So did that, did lots of international language launches, helped launch multiple Echo devices, built a team here again from 0 to 50 in 3 years. Again, very diverse set of team members, and I learned a lot about machine learning, got to interact with diverse set of stakeholders, got to see early stage product design, industrial design. understood how hardware development works, how software development interplays with hardware, ID, product design, machine learning. Got to also work very closely with audio and acoustic technology. There are some terms that I will never forget. Which are very specific to how audio teams work. Got to do a lot of vendor management, working with vendors, creating lots of external orders, managing vendors, doing budget negotiations, and finally also doing a lot of testing. So, in these 5 years, I've found myself growing exponentially in terms of just accumulating a lot of interesting information, access to leaders, access to different stakeholders from different domains. Um, uh, I also had a lot of interesting insights into what was happening outside of the US. So I still stayed within the Alexa machine learning organization. I still am a part of the same organization. Had an incredibly supportive manager and a leadership that has supported me in all the different stages of my career. The bets that I wanted to take with my teams, the initiatives that we wanted to do, the tools we wanted to build. And finally, when it came in 2018, I had spent 5 years as the owner of the Alexa machine learning data product. My manager and I partnered to decide that it was time to build a presence in India. So this pivot from moving from a data product owner to ML science, which is building the natural language understanding presence and brand in India, we really needed to do some understanding of what might be needed of me, what might be the response of building such a team in India. Back then in June 2018, while I was still in the US, we had not launched Hindi yet, but we already had launched Indian English on Alexa. That launch happened in 2017. Teams in the US partnered together with teams in India to deliver that launch. But the natural language understanding presence actually was not, there were no physical teams building NLU models in India. We had the India Alexa product teams and some machine learning teams in India back then, but there was no NLU presence. So we created this opportunity with the single focus in mind, is that we need a presence in India for NLU to create our brand. A brand for Alexa AI and a brand for machine learning, and partner really closely with the India product teams and the India stakeholders to launch these India-focused experiences, which need, the support of Alexa AI as well as NLU. So did that, was successful both from a personal and professional aspiration to return to India. This time we decided to move to Bangalore. And here again, got a chance and the opportunity to build an incredible team. Today we are a team of 40 people. We are, diverse in terms of where we all come from, the languages we speak. But one thing we share is that, again, we're very close with each other, very collaborative and very innovative when it comes to delivering for our customers. The milestone that comes to mind in this journey is the launch of Hindi. Very proud to have delivered this for our Indian users. We launched Hindi on Alexa in September 2019. Again, here in this set of experiences, I have to mention that building a team in India is just such a special part of my journey. It is, for those of you who know, because I mentioned that this is a diverse set of teams, right? We're not just hiring a known skill set. We needed to really understand where to hire computational linguists, where could we get data linguists, where could we get a set of scientists who could also partner with the computational linguists. So it has been a very interesting journey. Really happy that I was able to kind of go back to my roots of linguistics, language, because this is what we do today. So my team is at the intersection of science and linguistics, and both of these together deliver all of these experiences. We were able to launch very India-focused experiences. So some of you who are familiar with Alexa, we've launched the Vidya experience or education that enables learning possibilities or learning options for students. There's the pay with Alexa option for shopping use cases, which is expanding exponentially. So this just doesn't stop. It's I think it's just the beginning of what possibilities we have in terms of delivering in India. I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk to you all about the core culture of Amazon. There are a few slides here that I'd like to spend time on, where both while talking about the Amazon culture and the importance of some of these core pillars for Amazon, how these have helped me shape both my journey as well as my career. You might all be familiar with leadership principles. These are in the core DNA of every Amazonian. Right from the beginning of the journey, when you try to apply for a role at Amazon, sure enough, the recruiting team will send you these set of leadership principles, because these set of leadership principles are our guiding lights. We breathe and live by these leadership principles, and I find this very anchoring. So when you try to look for an anchor in a time where you need to make a decision, or you need a vision, or you're looking for a strategy, you're in a difficult time, it's always nice to have that anchor. And I personally have found these leadership principles to be those exactly the guiding lights for myself. Solving problems, coming up with strategy, coming out of difficult situations, thinking big for our customers. We'll share some of these with you. I think you all might have had a chance to take a look at them. I'm not going to talk about each one, but let me take a moment to talk about the one that really resonates with me. Obviously, each one of these plays a role in every decision-making process, be it recruiting, be it product level decision, org level decision, problem solving, customer focused decision. We lean on these leadership principles. Obviously, customer obsession is right at the center of all of the core philosophy, both for Amazon as well as for myself. Right? We're a deeply customer obsessed team. Everything that we do is worked backwards from the customer. What might be the experience that we want to leave the customers with? How might we continue to delight them? What might add value to what the users are expecting of us today? So really nice to have that, be the center of all of your thought process. The second one I really abide by is also ownership, right? Like the opportunity that Amazon provides through this guiding principle and through this leadership principle is just thinking about all of the potential solutions and opportunities, not just as a short-term band-aid solution. Right? There is an emphasis on thinking longer term, thinking what might be the biggest benefit, not just right now because there is a defect or a bug that we need to fix, but a solution that might solve this for any future occurrences of that instance. And at the same time, just for all of us to feel very empowered to deliver on behalf of the company, not just the team. And often you will hear that, I've been allocated this responsibility, so, doing something else is not really my area of deliverables, or it's not my job. But this ownership principle says exactly the opposite of that. Like when you are an Amazonian and you're demonstrating ownership, you're basically saying, that I'm delivering this because I see value in delivering for my customers by doing that. And that, I feel like that has helped me a lot in terms of just not creating those boundaries either for myself or for my team. So what I have found is that, once we see that there is an opportunity, a way that we could innovate on behalf of our customers, there's a set of processes we follow, there's a set of building consensus that we do, but we don't give up, right? And I think that also is a mantra for success. is that, once you have an eye on something that you feel adds long-term value, you just go ahead and find a way to deliver on it, to get leaders, to see the vision and align on delivering for the customers through these aspects. So I hope that all of you get a chance to at least spend some time getting hold of the leadership principles, reviewing how some of these might resonate with you. If at all you end up finding a role and interview with us, you will also see that many of our recruiting and interviewing questions are somehow geared towards assessing and evaluating based on the leadership principles too. I'm going to talk a little bit also about something that's very close to my heart, also something that Amazon enables and makes possible for a lot of us who lead teams, who are working towards ensuring that the what we talk about and read about in the media, that there is not enough diversity in leadership roles. So when I say diversity, we mean diversity both in gender. In the context of India, this is also regional diversity. This is also minority diversity and inclusion. They're really these are not just things that are made up in the media. This is real. This is real. These problems are real. The challenges of not enough female representation in tech roles. This is real. So, the reason why I've put the quote up here is that it's one thing for us to acknowledge that something is a problem, but it's another one to actually want to change it, right? It is not going to get changed by itself. So I take that very seriously, right? Like I like this Barack Obama quote because we really are the ones that can enable the change. So what I do, both instances and situations where I have built teams, my focus has been on what can I do to improve diversity representation on my teams? How can I promote more diverse ideas and perspectives when we are discussing, strategy, vision, product roadmap? How do I create an inclusive environment? And inclusive environment just doesn't mean that you provide a forum for someone to speak. It goes beyond being an empathetic listener, creating opportunities for change based on what you are hearing from your team members, ensuring that we are all constantly taking the diversity trainings that Amazon makes possible and available for us, and mentorship, right? Like oftentimes we find that because the numbers of diverse communities or minority communities are not that high, there's also this cascading effect of there's not enough people that they can lean on or get coaching and development support from, and that's why either the numbers don't grow or they find themselves not growing as fast as they would like to. So creating mentorship opportunities, Amazon does a great job by ensuring that the mentorship is available to any and everyone who would like to seek one. There's a formal tool if anybody would like a formal mentorship. There's also a lot of precedent of leaders, experienced, diversity members to just be available. You are what I have found useful in my case, building my network of people that I lean on for coaching, support, and guidance, is that if I have found someone who I look up to, or who I would think might be valuable in terms of getting me out of either a difficult career discussion or a difficult tactical situation, I have not hesitated to just walk up to the person or send an email to the person, listing out the request I have for them. Very few, you're not successful always because people are busy, people may or may not have time, they may or may not already be full with the mentees that they have. But don't hold back. Feel free to just go ahead and reach out to the people that you look up to for guidance, advice. This is how we build networks. This is how you build sponsors, and this is how you build allies. And some of these allies will continue to be a part of your career journey. Some of my sponsors and mentors and allies can still continue to be available for me. I don't meet with them very often, but whenever I do, we know where to pick up from. So I hope that you are all able to leverage some of these tips as well. I'm going to talk about a very topical point now, while also sharing with you Amazon's focus of a culture of giving back, both to the community as well as to opportunities that go beyond just the business of what Amazon does. So we all know the second COVID wave has been devastating for all of us. What has stood out for me from an Amazon perspective, and what we did very differently, is that within a week, a lot of Amazonians banded together across different cities to form these COVID warrior teams. And these teams, completely self-mobilized, leveraging what we do best, right? Using the Amazon processes, leadership principles to get together, create resources, form communities, and provide very urgent request, support to the requests that people were asking. We have 25 COVID warrior teams across India with 500 plus employees acting as volunteers. Still mobilized. I'm a part of one of the Bangalore COVID warrior teams. Feel very fortunate to have been able to contribute to an effort that is impacting so many of us. The COVID warrior teams have been at the front line, supporting members with hospital beds, oxygen concentrators, with medication, with vaccination questions. We've had Amazonians living overseas reach out to us with, asking for on-the-ground help for their parents or their family members or relatives. That's something that, I think has been the most incredible part of this year for me, is the quick mobilization of the employees and the complete obsession with supporting each other and acting as a strong knit community. Going beyond the COVID warrior example, we also have the precedent of Amazon India providing oxygen concentrators, vaccinations, and medicines to all of India. Again, this has happened so quickly, and the support has come in from all corners of the leadership circles, and just very humbling. Outside of these COVID-specific activities, we have corporate social responsibility programs where I find myself again very humbled to be a part of a team that does focus on volunteering. Whenever we have an opportunity to do community service programs, several members of the team have contributed through teaching, through cleanliness drives. So this aspect of giving back to the community, while we are delivering on the business goals, is again a very enriching and self-fulfilling experience. Last few slides here. I do want to talk a little bit about work-life balance or work-life harmony, and share with you that often we find ourselves struggling to do a good job, if you will, or balance both equally. And I wanted to just share with you, this set of collage pictures. They're not mine; they're stock pictures. But I just wanted to share with you all that I really do find that it takes a lot of effort, but there is an opportunity to do a balance for both. Right? Not always you will get to balance life. Not always should you balance work. It takes time. Early on in the career, there are struggles. I continue to struggle even today, especially for roles and teams that are based in remote locations or in locations that need collaboration across the world. There's a lot of, outside of our typical workday schedules that we end up working, right? We often put in late nights. Some of us might be putting very early mornings to collaborate with teams in the US. I just want to share that this aspect of trying to achieve a harmony is a never-ending experience. You keep getting better and better at it as you gain more experience. You do have to leverage your network, your ability. You have to understand your boundaries and leverage your manager's understanding, your team's understanding to identify, what will be your boundary or your team's boundary. And so it's not elusive. The work-life harmony and balance is not completely elusive, but we do all have to work very hard towards achieving it. Um, I'm going to leave you all with just some of these tidbits. I hope that you found the talk inspiring or interesting to an extent. Leave you all with these big things which have worked for me. Find your passions very important to be doing what you really like, right? Like it's kind of doing disservice to yourself. And again, like I said, I thought that speech recognition is my calling. You could have multiple callings. One life is too small to have just one calling, and we keep chasing that. It's also a highly dynamic world today. Things tech is changing very fast. Lots of interesting things keep happening. It's not the same pace as before. So don't beat up yourself if you find yourself, you do something and then you want to do something else. Take it as a challenge. See if that might stick. If not, something else comes along. Don't ever stop dreaming big. That's how we achieve great things. That's how you contribute, and you contribute to big initiatives, to big successful ideas and products. Don't compromise on the quality of your work. Be very high in terms of how your standards are. Insist on the highest standards from yourselves, from your peers, from your team members. And finally, don't let anyone tell you what you cannot do. Again, don't. That doesn't mean that you need to just surround yourself with yes sayers, but there's an aspect of self-confidence and building up that ability to strongly pursue what you want to do and believing in it, and surrounding yourself with the sponsors and believers. And with that, I'm going to stop the session. Thank you very much for your time. And I believe we will now head into our question and answer session. So thank you once again. I hope that there were some aspects of what I shared with you all today that you found interesting. I'm going to continue to share, or why don't I stop sharing and go ahead and take your questions. So what I'll do is I'll say the question out loud, and we'll move on. I think we have about 16 minutes, so we should be able to take a few of them. All right, so the first question is from Bina. Bina asks, what kind of tech roles does Alexa team have? A great question, Bina. So Alexa today in India, so I'll focus on the India roles and then I'll talk a little bit about the types of roles that might be available outside. This is a very diverse set of opportunities, I would say, because Alexa today focuses on lots of different aspects, both of product development, hardware development, software development, as well as machine learning. So all of these different components and aspects of development for Alexa, need tech roles. So there's software developer roles available in teams that work on building devices. There's always hardware, software, product design type of roles in those type of organizations. If you're specifically interested in India, there are teams that have software and hardware development roles. There's also testing roles. We have in Bangalore, we have teams that do testing for our device-specific aspects as well as software testing aspects. Within my own team, we have science focused roles. So we have data science, we have research science, applied science. We also have recently started dabbling with systems development engineer roles. And we have the computational linguist roles as well, like I mentioned. These are some of the tech roles. Of course, there's always the tech product manager roles as well, technical program manager roles. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, the next question is from Deepak. Deepak is asking, how can I get internship opportunities in the Alexa team? Are there any tips? Yes, Deepak. The internship opportunities typically work, very early in the process. So we currently have active interns both on my team as well as the partner teams in Alexa that are working that we work with. Um, all of these are typically filled through the university recruiting teams. And the university recruiting teams will typically open up these roles on the public portal for jobs. These will show up as intern opportunities. Oftentimes, the university recruiting teams will also partner directly with the universities themselves to get direct placement opportunities. So on my team, because I know how we work for get securing interns, for getting interns in 2021, we typically start the process in Q3, Q4 of 2020 already. So this starts very early. And then we provide our requirements to the university recruiting team. So based on which university you are from, one of two things might happen. One is the direct placement opportunity, which Amazon University recruiting teams is working with. And second could be through the job portals, through the jobs that are advertised in the public portals. Deepa has a question. How can we ramp back tech career after a career break? Deepa, if you are ramping back, welcome, and really glad that you decided to come back. We have one member of our team who's doing exactly what you are doing. I'll talk about what Amazon provides from a ramp back perspective. And again, your question is specifically for a tech career. I'll talk about just ramping back in your career for a little bit, and then maybe talk in detail about tech career. So Amazon provides specifically for women, there is a program for ramping back. You might have taken a break, either for maternity or you might have taken a break for some other reasons. There is a ramp back program that the team provides where the ramp back could vary from, either your availability, the percentage of time you might be available, or the number of days you might be able to contribute. So again, these are processes and mechanisms that are preset and available for individual members to avail. Very supportive system is available within Amazon. But in general, this question, if it is unrelated to Amazon, ramping back specifically in a tech career, I do acknowledge that times are very dynamic. I mentioned that, this is not a tech that stays the same for like a decade. Each year we are all finding that we are having newer and newer tech, newer and newer machine learning solutions, and more cutting edge inventions being done. So it does take some effort from our side. So especially if you are someone who left their company and left their role and now are wanting to try to get back and ramp back in your tech career, one thing that might help is just again evaluating your current situation, your skill set, your experience. Where can you contribute the most? Which companies might be able to leverage your experience the most? Right, finding first that opportunity and spending some time evaluating the landscape, that might be helpful. We're also in a world that is more and more globally connected, right? So no longer you should feel that because you are in a specific city or a specific location, your opportunities are limited. Right? Often you might find, and I think that the pandemic has actually changed mindset of many of the tech companies, where many companies might actually now be open to remote employees and roles where we initially thought that you needed to be doing some things in person, you might be able to do them equally successfully in a remote location. So Deepa, if that helps, those are opportunities. Those are some things I would do. Take a lay of the land, evaluate where you are in your career, assess the landscape, try to connect the dots between your experience, your skills, and the company that is looking for roles that might be a good match. All right, let me see some of these other. Yeah, there's a question from Tasneem. I'm interested to apply for project program manager roles in Amazon. Any tips for how to prepare for the interview? Which aspects should I focus on in my resume? Tasneem, I'm glad that you're considering some of these roles. Good luck. We'll be excited to interview you and speak with you. So specifically talking about your resume, you know, I have found it always useful to tailor the resume based on the job description. So, if you are working on a resume and have a stock resume that you just keep reusing and recycling for every role, it's kind of a disservice to the recruiting team as well as to the hiring manager because some effort is appreciated. So if you see that the job description requires a specific aspect of a skill, you want to make sure that if you have it, you highlight that. You stay to the point in terms of the experience, the skills you're bringing to the table. Long narratives are not needed. A concise, sharp, clear, direct resume is oftentimes the one that is most appreciated. So stay true to the facts, be data driven, focus on the skills you have acquired, tie back the experience that is asked from the job description, the qualifications that the job description asks for, and present and highlight that upfront in the resume. So I hope that helps from a resume aspect of the question. Your second question was any tips on how to prepare for the interview? Yes, I would say job description, is your biggest source of input in terms of what is the hiring team looking for, and homework from your side. Which team is this a part of? Is this Amazon retail? Is this Amazon operations? Is this Alexa? Is this AWS? Is this Prime Video? Is this Fire TV? Doing your homework in terms of understanding what the org does, what are the contributions, what are some of the products that this org has, where does your skill set and experience come into the picture? How will you be able to make a difference if hired to this team? Those are typically the kinds of questions you should expect, right? In a very formal setting, like I mentioned, the leadership principles do take the center stage. So your discussion with the set of people that will speak with you during this process will be somehow geared towards, how is customer obsession coming through from the answers? How is thinking big coming through the answers? How is diving deep coming through the answers that this individual is providing? So, a couple of things to keep in mind. Leadership principles, really understand them. Sometimes it also helps if you tie back your experiences with some of these leadership principles, right? Like, so if you were part of a project or an initiative and, want to call that out as the highlight project or initiative, how can that shine through for some of the leadership principles that are in question? And what might you be able to answer if there was a question from an interviewer related to what is the biggest impact you have made to a customer? So that prep is important because it shines through. It becomes visible to the interviewing team as well that you have come well prepared. You know about the product background, you know about the organization. So that all just, is not only good prep, but it's also appreciated by the interviewing and recruiting teams. Akshay asks, I recently graduated and joined Amazon as a product compliance associate. Any tips for an upcoming Amazonian like me? Akshay, welcome to Amazon. First of all, this is a great place for you to start. Compliance associate teams are making a big difference to all of the organizations as we all, as the tech industry works towards more compliance, more compliant, more information secure, more privacy focused and data focused initiatives. So welcome to Amazon. As an early Amazonian, when I step back into my early days at Amazon, I also think that my answer is going to be similar to what I mentioned to this theme before, is leadership principles. Use those as your guiding lights because you will find that throughout the career journey, these act as the milestones, these act as your anchors, both for yourself, for how you can deliver above and beyond, both for your team as well as for your customers, as well as work really well with your teams to earn trust, build trust, maintain trust, think bigger, dive deeper. Ultimately, the leadership principles do kind of end up becoming the DNA for how we deliver at Amazon. So start there, Akshay. And I hope I got your name right. Start there, Akshay, and don't be bashful or shy for learning and being curious. So I would say that that has been the one thing that has helped me also kind of keep expanding my scope, if you will, in a very business terminology. The more you are able to demonstrate curiosity, why are we doing something the way we are doing? How does it impact the customers? Can we do this better? And learning, right? Like Amazon itself provides a lot of learning opportunities through multiple platforms and tooling systems. But there are also opportunities to learn by networking. Find your mentors, find your sponsors and allies that will help you learn beyond what the current team that you are working with and beyond the current opportunities. So learn and be curious. Don't think that what your team does and what you need to deliver is the only thing that you need to keep doing, because the opportunities are immense. There is absolutely no limits and boundaries to how much you can learn and the amount of curiosity you can demonstrate. Okay, with that, I think Shiva is telling me that we might be done with the list of questions. Thank you, everyone, for your time again. I hope that you found this good use of your time. I certainly did enjoy all of your questions. I was happy to be a part of this session. Thank you to the Amazon team, Valli and Shiva, for your time and for helping us coordinate this event. Take care, everyone, and I hope you all continue to stay safe. Bye.